Hello everyone, welcome to General Lando 327 plays Final Fantasy XIII, episode 14. We are in mid-chapter 7. We just got our final party member, Fang, and we're about to go see how she handles. So I said something at the end of last stream that was partially I made an incorrect statement and partially I wasn't very clear. So solve both of those problems. I want to fix that. So we were talking about the differences in saboteur roles between Fang and Vanille. And I said that Vanille has defensive buffs and Fang has offensive buffs. Well, I got those switched first off. So if you were massively confused, then, you know, you're not alone. What I should have said first off was that that Vanille's are offensive. I'll explain this more in just a second. I should have said that Vanille's were offensive buffs and Fang's were defensive buffs. If you, or debuffs, I guess I should say. If you look at the synergist role and the actual buffs that are available, you can divide those into two groups, offensive and defensive. Hope starts out with all the defensive buffs. Well, getting all the defensive buffs first. Protect, Shell, Veil, and Saz gets the opposite. He gets the offensive buffs first. Bravery, Faith, Haste, Vigilance. Vigilance is kind of a both-way thing depending on the scenario, but it's to me it's more of an offensive buff in the sense that it allows you to keep attacking. So if those are pretty clearly grouped, which ones are going to be offensive and which ones are going to be defensive, with, like I say, the exception of Vigilance, which is kind of a little bit of both. But if you look at the Saboteur spells, they can fall into similar categories. While all of them are designed to debuff your opponent, so it doesn't look like any of them are particularly defensive in any way. If you think about the ones that Fang gets first, which are Slow, which we already have, Curse, and then eventually Pain and Fog, which there are three there that are designed to either reduce or completely eliminate actions being taken by the opponent. Slow obviously slows them down, and then Pain and Fog each affect physical or magical attacks respectively and prevent them from being used at all by the opponent. So, so then the other one is Curse, which is designed to interrupt enemies' attacks when you're attacking them. So again, that could sort of be considered an offensive buff. But it's really more of a defensive buff because, again, if you're using it tactically, then you're using it to prevent your opponents from attacking you. So they're all, in a sense, defensive debuffs from the perspective of the party. Not what I wanted. I wanted to switch to. Let's do slash burn. I think it's probably going to be faster. This out first. And so on the flip side, you have all of Vanille's debuffs that are obviously designed to weaken your opponent's defenses, which would allow you to do more damage to them. She's got D-Protect and D-Shell, which we've already seen, and then she's also got, eventually, soon, Imperil, which is the debuff that will make them weak against more elements, or at least less resistant to them. So you have her debuffs are clearly in an offensive category, again from the perspective of the party. The benefit to the party is an offensive benefit, whereas the benefit to the enemies on all of them is negative, so really doesn't make a huge difference. I hope that clarifies things a little bit. Again, like I say, they're basically the exact counterparts of the synergist spells we were talking about. Obviously, the synergist also has the N element and the bar element spells that are designed for
Who are you?
To either protect against elemental damage or to cause elemental damage, which I guess would be the equivalent to imperil. So the N element spells would be the synergist equivalent to imperil.
Same as you. Hmm? Difference being, I wasn't born on Cocoon. What? I'm from Grand Pulse, the world below you all hate so much. My partner and I turned a crystal there and gone to sleep. But when we came around, here we were. The reason Cocoon's in such an uproar is the same reason you're here now. Vanille and I woke up.
Note that you just said Vanille and I. So Vanille's not from Cocoon, which explains a lot of why we haven't seen her backstory until now. Besides the suspense, it also explains a lot of why she reacts to things the way that she does in the beginning parts of the game.
The Sanctum follows Foul Sea orders. It's not just after the sea. They'll target civilians and purge everyone who's a threat.
More innocents get killed.
You can't take the blame for that.
Someone has to.
We can still save them. We let loose and bring the army to us.
Draw their fire?
I'm supposed to protect you. I can't let this happen. It's a tough call, that's for sure. Only one choice, I guess. Try to save everyone. So, Hope, are you with me on this? You just need to look out for yourself.
Alright, so first thing we need to switch this back to the right paradigm.
Goes nothing.
Calm down. Now's not the time.
I don't think we have enough CP to actually be really worth anything, but oh yeah, I guess it's enough for him to finish his Crystarium expansion for this section. You, I think we're gonna get like 2 things. Yeah. Oh, I can go farther than that. Alright. So I've already filmed this episode once, and my capture card decided to be dumb again, and it deactivated the mic less than 30 seconds into the episode. I was like, really? Of course, I didn't know that until I went to do, check it out in post to make sure that everything was going properly. Of course, it wasn't.
How about this? Nice one.
I really don't need a synergist for this fight, but whatever. I'll always get protect on.
It's all about teamwork. Later. No problem.
So what we should get to today is the next like major set of story I don't know, cutscenes anyway. There's a batch of 6 cutscenes that comes up well, about 50 minutes from now, after the first boss of this chapter. So we might go, you know, a few minutes over, but trust me, it will be 100% worth it.
How about this? You see that?
These people want to kill us, don't they?
Yeah. Thought it was turning the other direction. Oh.
Bring it on!
I really wish Hope would cast the buffs on himself first, since he's casting defensive buffs and, you know, he's the one that's a wuss. But it doesn't happen.
You see that? That's what I'm talking about.
I repeat. Citizens, a state of emergency has been declared. Sanctum military operations will be commencing within this area momentarily. For your own safety, a mandatory citywide evacuation has been ordered.
How about this?
Was hoping I could kill it before it got in water off. 'Cause now I have to sit for another couple of rounds to let Hope cast bar water on us, just to be safe.
Time to switch, kiddo. You see that? No problem. Not good.
Is there a problem? Now why don't you just calm down?
I don't really get this cutscene. Like, why is the crowd so afraid of them to begin with? Oh, I guess that was on the news, wasn't it? I guess that whole event with Snow riding in on Shiva. I guess that was kind of televised, so they probably have seen him. Alright, that makes more sense.
What are you doing?
I was gonna say, if Snow hadn't run in and randomly punched a guard out, like, it wouldn't have been an issue. Especially if you'd ever bothered to actually cover up his brand.
Fire on the crowd. Doesn't matter who dies. Just wipe them all out.
So these guys are the second most annoying enemies in this chapter. Basic enemies, anyway. They do high damage. They act quickly. They basically interrupt everything that you do. And then they have that attack, which can easily level Hope if he doesn't have Protect on. An attack and a half, especially when there's a few of them on the board. Oh, and they can't be launched.
Great stuff, Hope. How about this? Hope, follow my lead. How about this? Thanks, Hope. Thanks, partner. Thanks, Hope. How about this? It's all about teamwork.
Not what I wanted. That's what I wanted.
How about this? That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, and they only give like 60 CP an enemy. Yeah.
Let's see what you got.
And after we fight 3 of them, then they give us the softball and just let us fight 1. If he'd ever come down here so I can, hit him. Thank you. I don't know that. Actually, I probably do. 'Cause he could still level Hope.
Time to switch, kiddo.
Couldn't remember if they were actually weak against an element or not. They're not. If they're weak against an element, it would have been perfectly fine to leave Snow and Ravager for the stagger period, but I mean, against one of them it doesn't really matter. But if they're not weak against the element, then you're better off with the straight damage potential of Commando. Oh yeah, and they tend to gang up on one party member.
It's all about teamwork. Time to switch, kiddo. How about this?
Forget it. It's gonna take longer to check paradigms than it will be to just straight up kill it. But you notice the difference in damage when Snow did that with the first battle with a lower chain gauge. He was doing about 1,300 damage once it was staggered, but there he only did 500 with a higher chain bonus. This is one of the more interesting cutscenes in the game for me.
You okay?
Leave her alone!
She's scum! Save the girl!
Call the army!
Don't you touch her!
Protect Cocoon!
It's okay! You're okay now!
This is our town. Get out of here. Oh, great. You better run, Lassie scum. No mercy. We can take him. Why'd you have to ruin it?
Kill the Lassie!
Careful now. I'm not afraid of you.
Help us!
Magic.
We don't stand a chance. We can't fight that. I'm sorry.
Time to go.
Stop them! Empty those clips! Fire!
So ignoring the physics of the fact that sign falling down wouldn't have worked like that, it kind of makes a point about how the guy who was giving the speeches to the commander, to the army earlier, Colonel Rausch, and that little conversation that he had with the Sanctum troops who just wanted to protect their homes and be part of the operation to, drive people out, but weren't too happy about the fact that Rausch was ready to shoot to kill, regardless of civilian casualties.
Gotta stay ahead of him.
He makes a couple statements in there that are talking specifically about the fact that it's the fear of the people that's giving SciComm the okay to just do whatever they need to do to get rid of these people. The masses are the ones that have been so brainwashed by the government, who has said for years, anything from Pulse is bad, without them having any reason to know why. The people just believe that, and so they panic, which is the same thing that if you look at American history, when the nation was being formed,
Felix Seitz is
there were two guys, Alexander Hamilton and John Madison, who said that unlike Jefferson, who was very much a power lies in the people kind of guy, Alexander Hamilton and Madison both said that they were afraid of the masses. The power of the masses is what tends
actually might be,
to
huh?
like
Yeah,
lead to revolution.
she don't have family.
Listen to me, kid.
So the
I'm an orphan. I barely got to know my family. But someday, I'm gonna have my own. Once I save Sarah and protect Cocoon.
How exactly?
It's a good question.
So I think this game takes a lot of slack
Everyone
for
hates Lassie.
from people who say that it doesn't have a
Kinda
good
hard to help
story.
someone that's
Well,
trying to kill you.
maybe by comparison to something else in the series, maybe. But at the same time, I think this is one of the most relatable games.
As long
in the
as we
entire
stay
series.
together and hold on to hope.
We don't have any.
Because we have a case in this game where they had to understand the the psychological impact of what government tells its people. The whole game revolves around that concept of there's this government that has told its people that such and such is bad.
Hey, wait up!
And then when they can't control it anymore, they're willing to go to whatever lengths to appease the people who are just afraid without knowing really why, other than what we've been told in the past.
How about this?
Or really want to take this guy out before I switched over to Human Paradigm, but I don't. There we go.
How about this? Thanks, Hope.
That's one of the reasons that I really like this game, is because all the way through it's about motivations. The growth in your primary characters is all about their motivations either changing or becoming more apparent to them, and what the consequences of those motivations really mean. That's not really what I wanted. Yeah, this could be a problem.
How about this? It's all about teamwork. It's me you want. Hope, follow my lead. How about this?
I should have gone slash and burn. Didn't need to go to dual casting for that. Alright, so if you go for this treasure, you might notice that it becomes obvious that you've got an enemy bearing down on you. But what might not be obvious is if you actually go all the way to the end, you're actually out of this thing's zone, so you can still open this chest before you fight it, which in this particular case is useful because that is a piece of equipment that's very useful for Hope. If you upgrade his Magician's Mark to the one that we just picked up, the Shaman's Mark, his magic stat goes up by an additional 30 points. So that'll be useful when you actually fight this thing. The next thing you want to do before you actually fight it is switch over to slash and burn. While this is like the hardest common enemy in the game, or not in the game, but in this chapter, you're not going to get a preemptive strike unless you use a Deceptisol. Say what? You know what I said wasn't going to happen? Yeah, it just happened. Well, anyway. Regardless, even if you do get a preemptive strike, you want to start here anyway. So, anyway, normally you're not going to get a preemptive strike, and you definitely want to stagger this thing as quickly as possible, because even with Protect on, actually Protect and Shell, it will level. It's capable of leveling snow in one hit. So this is one of those cases where when we fought the first one of those, I said later in the game there would be one that, while it seems like a good idea to protect yourself, it's just too slow. By the way, doing it this way, you can actually keep attacking that thing over and over again if you wanted to, but I would prefer to fight as few of those as possible. Okay. Now we gotta switch back to this though, so that we can fight these things again.
How about this? Time to switch, kiddo.
Really?
Come and get it. Thanks, partner. You see that? How about this?
Next chest is the one I was thinking. She is right over here. So again, we get a new piece of equipment for Hope. In this case, it does lower his magic by 4 points, but it also gives us the defense maintenance buff, which allows his defensive buffs to last longer, which is useful to us. I'm gonna do this first.
Leave this to me.
Get out of my way. So this is probably the toughest sequence of battles in this entire chapter, starting right here. Partially because I just screwed this up completely. Yeah, we're gonna start over. I might be able to still pull it off, but I'd rather not try it. Hi. Yes. We're fighting you again. Except this time I'm doing it right.
How about this? Follow my lead.
So that one doesn't seem too tough. I mean, we've already done that,
something around
but the next one here, make sure to snag this treasure chest. The reason being, you want this Deceptisol. I mean, granted, if you have quite a few stocked up, it really doesn't matter. But you want to use it right away. Because up here, you have another one of those, and you can't see the third one. No, there's only one. There's only one on that one. One aerial sniper. And what you need to do, actually, is to run all the way down here, get this chest, because if you fight them first, they're going to respawn, and then you have to fight them again. And then you have to run back and hope that hope doesn't get in your way, so that the Deceptisol wears off before you get back here, so you can still get the preemptive strike. Because trust me, you don't want to fight these two in a straight up fight.
How about this?
And normally you would want to take out the smaller guy first, but in this case you don't want to let this thing get its ultimate attack off, so you've got to kill it first. Now the other one's fairly trivial, but...
How about this? You see that?
Then you can just focus on this, and it's sort of a piece of cake. Right, then you need to switch back to this one for one battle, because you have another pair of trio of snipers coming at you.
Thanks, Hope. How about this? How about this? It's all about teamwork.
Alright, and now we get the really bad one. Before you hop up here, you want to use a Deceptisol and a Fortisol and switch back to Slash and Burn to take advantage of the Deceptisol. And it's not a horrible idea to try to buy some more stat boosts for Hope. Of course, Snow has nothing else to get, so, and even that, I mean, you see how little we got out of those battles, and that's counting the ones before them. Because the reason you need to do that is because now you've got this guy and 2 snipers to deal with. Yeah. Even with the Deceptisol, it's not really enough because you've got the 2 snipers that are likely to gang up on either Snow or Hope. And because none of them can be launched, they're still going to be attacking basically the entire time. But the combination of haste and either bravery or faith, depending on which party member is more appropriate, will make this turn this into a livable challenge. Even then, I mean, look how much damage this started doing to me. If you are not really experienced with this game and you're playing this, it's not a bad idea to throw an Age Assault too, just for the defensive buffs. Basically allows you to have actually more than what you would have had if you had started it in with Hope as a synergist optimally, and could have survived that, but that alone is nowhere near enough to help you. Alright. Although the vigilance buff that you get from Deceptisol is quite handy in that fight too, because then you're not getting your attacks interrupted every 5 seconds. And then we go back to Super Soldier for another 3 snipers. Oh wait, nope, I forgot about that. No, we don't. We actually do want Super Soldier, but and we got 206 CP out of that. That's all we got. That's enough to get that far. It's not even enough to get to a full node. Alright. The other thing we need to do is slightly tweak our equipment. Give you our extra doctor's code and number ring. And leave Hope alone. He's fine.
I wanted to ask you something.
What's that?
You say you want a family. What if they were taken from you?
Well then, I'd take them back.
And what if you couldn't? What if you knew who was to blame?
Well, then there'd be trouble. Hey, are you okay?
Here it comes, guys. The confrontation we've all been waiting for. After this brief word from our sponsors.
I guess we'll have to talk about this later.
Death.
Don't just stand
That was
there.
the word.
Hope, wait!
The first thing you want to do is Libera it, because that way he knows to cast Bar Fire, because that's what that napalm attack is fire based. So that'll help you substantially, along with the Ember Ring that we equipped on Snow. And once he gets Protecting Shell up, then we'll be good to go on the offensive after he heals himself. weak against thunder, which, yeah, of course Snow doesn't have.
How about this?
And now it's got D-Protect and D-Shell on it, but it also has Bravery, which means it's going to be that attack that does a lot more damage. Cool, huh? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stay in dual casting long enough to get the stagger gauge up to about 400, and then we can easily finish him off in the first stagger period, assuming that Hope doesn't die.
Hope, follow my lead.
Stop attacking Hope. Seriously. I think he's only attacked me all like 3 times in the entire battle. Cool. Still think we can pull this off. Nope, not quite. Still finish it without getting anywhere near critical. Except for when he does that. I hate that attack. One punch. And now we're going to get to that giant cutscene sequence I was talking about. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
If you need to take a break, why don't we do it over there? Here.
I'm not thirsty.
Okay. Well, don't want to waste it.
Mommy? Mommy?
I can't. Snow? What do you plan to do? I need to know.
I told you. Save Sarah, protect Cocoon, have myself a big, happy family. Still, it's a long road ahead. Or maybe not so long. Whatever happens, things will work themselves out. Even if you're l'Cie, you gotta keep fighting. Yeah.
And what if that gets people around you involved?
What?
What happens when your actions end up ruining someone's life? What if someone dies? What then, Snow? How do you pay for what you've done?
I can't! All right? There is nothing that can make something like that right again. When someone's dead, when someone's gone, words are useless.
So that's it? People die and you just run away?
I know! It's all my fault. I don't know how to fix it. Where do you start? What do you say? All I can do is go forward. Keep fighting and surviving until I find the answers I need.
There are no answers! You're running from what you deserve!
Well, why don't you tell me what I deserve?
The same fate!
I love the choices that they made in this cutscene to have...
Nora Eston. She was my mother. And she died because of you!
You? You're the one she meant.
To have Snow, like, literally stagger under the weight of the flashbacks and the implications of what Hope is asking him in this cutscene. This is by far one of the more touching cutscenes of the entire game, because of the fact that all this time we've seen Snow maybe struggle a little bit, but for the most part he's just going forward, like he said in this cutscene. And And for the first time, he's called to the carpet and has to really focus on what's the answer. He can't just wave it off with humor.
We didn't remember our focus or what we'd done.
And it affects him.
It was wander cocoon, looking for what we'd lost.
Let's give up. Forget our focus. We don't need it.
We don't need it? Look, if we don't figure it out and pull it off, you're gonna be a Sith.
It's just making a kid that young, Alyssa. It's not right.
Yeah, it's unfair. But guess what? We grin and bear it like good lassie, or the Falsey starts making more. Like that girl the other day. It doesn't matter what our focus is. We do it, whether we like it or not.
But
say we call it quits. You think these people will let us go? They'll lynch us in the street. Listen, Vanille. We do what we gotta do, and get ourselves off this filthy world as fast as we can.
Fang.
You get out of here first. I'll buy you some time. Now, don't you worry. I'll come and find you, no matter where you go.
Wait! Fang! Fang! Please! Don't leave me!
You're not gonna end up a Sith. You boys coming or not? Your fight's right here! By the time I took care of them all, Vanille was long gone. After that, Brains and his cavalry found me. I never stopped searching for Vanille, but I couldn't find her. Her or our focus.
So, you're telling me Sarah will come back to life someday too?
Yep. We didn't do our job right. That's why it made her a lessee. We messed up. Sorry. That it?
You sure better hope so. But whether we're square, that's up to Sarah.
You sound exactly like Snow.
Funny thing about that.
And he didn't hit me.
Wait, he already knows this?
Wow. That's a load off. Glad I apologized.
You apologized so you'd feel better?
Guess so. How about you? Feel any better now that you hit me?
It didn't change anything.
Huh. Tell that to my jaw.
It's one of the reasons I love Fang so much, because she's always the
Heights is
pragmatist.
up there. Still a ways before we get to Hope's place.
Better pick it up.
We'll head through that gate.
Right.
If not for the connection to Sarah, Fang and Lightning would get along swell. They're both very, it just has to be done type people. With that, we're going to switch our paradigm back to the correct default. Gonna spend our CP. That's right, accessory slot, that's what I'm going for. So I may as well just finish this roll then. For the time being, anyway. Then... let's do this one. What are you doing? You got Smite. Got Blizzard. You don't have anything here. Oh, that's right. I was going for the medic roll level. Let's grab that. It's just a matter of which way I want to do this. That's Quake. Don't really care. Well, that works out well. So now we can just go back up to the save point and call it an episode and be ready to go for the next one. One save point. That's the right one to overwrite. Alright, well, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button and share it with your friends. And subscribe if you're new to the channel. Everybody have a great day.